This is Let's Talk Big, the big read with Jane Berger and Jen Hazel. The Owens Community College Campus Big Read is taking place now and throughout the semester, with the goal of bringing awareness of different perspectives through books. The Campus Read book is A Little Less Broken, How an Autism Diagnosis Finally Made Me Whole by Marian Shambari. It's the story of one woman's decades-long journey to a diagnosis of autism and the barriers that keep too many neurodivergent people from knowing their true selves. Now, sharing passages, topics, and events related to the book are Director of Library Services, Jane Berger, and Professor of English, Jen Hazel.
Welcome to Let's Talk Big. My name is Jen Hazel, and I am here today with Denise Smith, Provost and VP of Academic Affairs. Welcome, Denise.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so happy to have you today. So I have a passage for you, and just to give a little context, because I'm starting a little bit after the statement where she talks about the spoon theory of using up all of your spoons. So, and she gives a kind of explanation that the original author of that talked about. So we're a little bit down, a little bit farther. And it starts here. Oh, we're on 114 for anyone who's reading along with us. This math is possible only if we know we're disabled. Many of us live decades blowing through our spoons by lunchtime and wondering why we're always so depleted. In 2011, cockroaches stole all my spoons. Living with a chatty couple in their 60s put me in the negative. I had nothing left for Lewis or politeness or making friends or exploring this beautiful country I wanted to call home. Thoughts?
I think that probably lots of people can relate to that, and knowing that you have a certain kind of amount of energy throughout the day is something that we don't really think about. So this makes us all think about it. But I also think it helps us in dealing with other people, because if somebody is short with you or something like that, I often think back to this myself and think, I wonder where they are in their spoons for the day, because I may have hit them after that depletion mark. And so it gives me a little bit more empathy with people. If I think they've been short with me or something like that, I don't take it as personally as I used to, I think, before I read this and really thought about that.
I think that's a great way to look at that, because really thinking about it, it's like, you're right, we all have a certain amount of energy. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because before I read this, and you may giggle, that someone who used to work here a while ago, I always used to be like, we would talk and I'd be like, well, everyone's go is different. And so it's funny because then when I read this, I was like, oh, that's kind of what I'm saying, is everyone's go is a different level. Everyone has a certain number of spoons, and sometimes you're out, and that's it. But it's a good way to think about it in terms of others, to take it outside of yourself. Like, I know I only have this much, and somebody else, I could have met them when they're in the way negative of it too. So I think that's really an insightful way to actually learn something from this, one about yourself, but another one about others. So I think that's super interesting. I think one of the things that I think I love about this is her writing style too, and when she's like, cockroaches stole all my spoons. Is really quite clever. And there's a lot of places where she's very clever with her language, and that one is one that always makes me laugh every time I read that.
When I read that, I always think that is the unexpected thing that happens. Those are my cockroaches. Sarah Knight calls them tarantulas in her book, but it's the same kind of concept for me. That's the piece that you didn't know was going to happen to you, and that is so depleting to your energy or your spoons because you had not prepared for it. So anybody that hits that, I think, needs to give themselves a little grace, because we often have expectations of ourselves that may be unrealistic when an emergency happens. And I think we need to cut ourselves some slack and say, okay, you know what, the cockroaches did steal all my spoons today, and tomorrow I'm going to try again.
Oh, I think that's super great, super insightful. So shifting gears just a little bit, thinking about this in terms of, this is like our 6th year with the Big Read, and as the Chief Academic Officer on campus, what are your thoughts about where we've been and maybe where we're going with the Big Read?
So I'm actually going to answer that in 2 ways. I'm going to answer it as the Chief Academic Officer, but then I'm also going to answer it as senior leadership of the college as a whole, because I think the Big Read has gone past just academic affairs and moved into a college-wide initiative, which is fantastic. I think we've wanted that for many years. On the academic affairs side, the idea of something that everybody can go to, regardless of what they're teaching, regardless of what program they're in, that they're kind of able to do together, I think brings us all together as an academic community to have a discussion that allows for academic discourse. We all don't have to agree, but it trains us all in ways to have conversations about difficult topics with folks that may not be like us. And I think that's really important. In a college, it prepares students not just for, careers, but for life in general. And so I think that's really good. But as a college, I think it's also been great for us as a college community, because what I have seen are offices that are not necessarily academic affairs start to read this, have book clubs, have discussions. A lot of this helps us in better ways to work with our student population. I mean, our students literally come to us from all walks of life. I say that every year in my graduation speech, and it's absolutely true. So having something like this to help people really gets us all talking about the same thing as an institution, which I think makes us a stronger institution.
Oh, I love that. So where do you think, where would you like to see it go? Sorry, and you're going to probably have to answer that in 2 parts.
Yeah, I would like to see more folks be able to incorporate it into classes. I know that that's really difficult because we have things that it's tight as it is a lot of times. But I think that the work that you and your team have been doing, you are making it applicable to multiple areas. So I hope that increases and people find ways to really use this as a resource. For the college, I would like to see more and more people get involved, come to the author events. One of the things that I realize when I go to these with folks that are not in academic affairs is that my colleagues and their teams don't always get to see the amazing students that we have. So when you are at an event where there are students and they are interacting with the author, I think it really brings home to them what the mission of our college is. So I'd like to see when more and more people get involved in that.
Oh, that's awesome. I think, too, along with that, so this year we have a group of people from business affairs who are doing some professional development around it. And one of the things that I think is super rewarding is some of them don't really interact with students. They support things with students. And so getting to see students and remember that that's at the forefront of what they do, I think, is probably super important. I have enjoyed actually learning more about business affairs in working with them, which has helped me kind of put in place and really think about what it is that they do collectively, which then has helped me approach some of these things differently too, because they think very differently with their mind than me as, a literature professor thinks. And so I think that that's really great to kind of see that. And I've seen a lot of growth with them in terms of thinking about things that they do differently and maybe could change. So, but that is all the time we have for today. But thank you so much for being on. So on behalf of myself, Jen Hazel, and my guests, Denise Smith, keep talking big.
Thank you.
This has been Let's Talk Big. Catch Let's Talk Big anytime on the RSS feed or the Owens Outcome Plus YouTube channel. Be sure to like and subscribe. Join us again for Let's Talk Big, the Big Read with Jane Berger and Jen Hazel.